Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome my student, okay, Mr. Mu'taz Said, okay, biology teacher, will explain today lesson 2, photosynthesis is in green, okay, photosynthesis in green plants. Where does the photosynthesis process take place, okay? As we know that, number one, green leaves, it is the main site for photosynthesis process as they contain chloroplasts in their cells in hair plants. Also, we know that green herbaceous stems take part in photosynthesis and they contain chloranthema tissue with chloroplasts in their cells. As we see in the structure of the chloroplasts, okay, consist of stroma, okay, and it has grana discs. Also, it's covered with double membrane, outer membrane, inner membrane. Also contains the DNA and the starch granules, okay. Appears homogeneous mass as the shape of convex lens through the light microscope. The chloroplast appear through the electron microscope with double thin membrane enclosed it about 10 nanometer thick. Inside the chloroplast there is the matrix stroma, which is colorless proteinic substance embedded in stroma are disc-shaped grana. Each granum is about 0.5 micron in diameter and about 0.7 micron thick. Grana are arranged as clusters along the body of the plastid, where they are linked together by thin membrane. Grana lamella. Each granum is a pile of 15 or more discs arranged over each other. Each disc is hollow from the inside, while its margin extends outside the granum to meet the margin of another disc in neighboring granum. This is to increase the exposed surface area of the disc. This is also responsible for carrying the pigments that absorb light energy. As we know that chloroplasts contain four main pigments, okay? We have chlorophyll A, it's a color blue, green, and the percentage it's about 70%. Also chlorophyll B, yellow green, okay, also 70%. And the xanthophyll we have it's a color lemon yellow, okay, percent 25%, and the carotene it's orange yellow 5%. It's clear that from this table why green colors dominate colors of other pigment because higher percentage 70% for chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. What is the role of chlorophyll? Okay, 2 is to absorb light energy. It's required for plants to carry out photosynthesis process. The structure of chlorophyll molecule. Chlorophyll it's a complex. Okay, it's a has molecular formula C55H72O5N4 magnesium. The magnesium atom it occupies the center of chlorophyll molecule, and there is a relationship between the presence of magnesium in the chlorophyll and the ability of chlorophyll to absorb light. Starch again are produced inside the chloroplast. Also, there are minutes in its size, and they are temporary product of photosynthesis. They will soon change back to soluble sugar in order to be translocated to other organs of the plant. The structure of the leaf and its adaptation to photosynthesis process. The leaf is composed of three main tissue. Okay, number one, the upper and the lower epidermis and the mesophyll tissue. Okay, and the vascular tissue. The upper and the lower epidermis each is composed of one row of adjacent parallel-shaped parenchyma cells with no chlorophyll. Stomata also spread between them, and the outer walls of these cells are covered with cutin. Number two, we have the mesophyll tissue. The mesophyll tissue under the epidermis, it consists of two types, ballacide layer, spongy layer. The ballacide layer, it's lie below the upper epidermis. One row of elongated cylindrical parenchyma cells arranged in columnar form perpendicular to the leaf surface. The ballacide cell possesses many chloroplasts that are arranged at the upper parts of this cell to receive as much sun rays as possible. Okay. Number two, the spongy layer. It lies below the ballacide layer. It consists of irregularly shaped and loosely arranged parenchyma cells with large intercellular spaces between them. Spongy cells contain less chloroplasts than the ballacide cells. Also, we have vascular tissue. It is a midrib, contains a mini vascular bundle, while vein and venules contain many smaller secondary vascular bundle. Inside the vascular bundle, There are xylem vessels that are arranged in vertical row between which xylem parenchyma cells exist next to xylem towards the lower surface of the leaf. Also, there is a folium. Okay. What's the mechanism of photosynthesis process? How can the plants obtain oxygen? Okay, so we can explain what's the source of oxygen released during photosynthesis process. Okay, there is a scientist, Van Nel. Van Nel was the first person who obtained out the rule of light in photosynthesis. He studied photosynthesis in the sulfur bacteria. It's green and purple. These bacteria are autotrophs. Okay, it contain chlorophyll, simpler in the structure than ordinary chlorophyll. These bacteria live in swamps and ponds where hydrogen sulfide is abundant. Okay, hydrogen sulfide is the source of hydrogen used by these bacteria to reduce carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. Sulfur is released. Van Nel assumed that the light decomposes hydrogen sulfide into hydrogen. Sulfur hydrogen is then used afterwards in a certain dark reaction to reduce carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Okay, for the following equation, 6CO2 plus 12H2S, by the helping of absorbing saline energy and the bacteria chlorophyll, the bacteria can make glucose, C6H12O6, plus 6 water molecules and release the sulfur. On this basis, Van Nel assumes that higher the light reaction in green plants similar to that happening in sulfur bacteria, except that in green plants, water is the source of hydrogen. Okay, and oxygen released. Hydrogen is used afterward to reduce carbon dioxide. Series of reactions that don't require light into carbohydrate and oxygen release. So Van Nel proposed that release of oxygen comes from water, a case which is similar to the sulfur which is released from hydrogen sulfide. So the general formula equations that present photosynthesis green plants, 6CO2 plus 12 water molecules, okay, releases by the absorption of sunlight energy and the chlorophyll, release the glucose, sugar, 6H12O6, and 6 molecules of water, and release the oxygen. Okay. After that, we can verify the theory of Van Nel. The first experiment, 6CO2. Okay, we use the carbon dioxide. Okay. The atomic number of our mass number of oxygen 16 and plus 12H2O. The mass number of oxygen isotope, we use isotope of oxygen or 18. Okay, by absorbing sunlight energy, chlorophyll released glucose, sugar, and 6 molecules of water, and releases the oxygen. The oxygen released carry the isotope 18, not 16, so it's we can conclude that source of oxygen is water. Second experiment, 6CO2, but in oxygen in carbon dioxide, it's isotope of carbon 12, it's 18, I'm sorry, oxygen 18 plus 12 H2O, 16 chlorophyll. Okay, and by absorbing sunlight energy, release also glucose, sugar, and water, and oxygen release. But oxygen here, it's the ordinary oxygen, mass number 16. It means it released from water also. Okay, so we can conclude it from these two equations that the source of oxygen comes from water, not from carbon dioxide. Okay, light reaction and the dark reaction. During his experiment to study the limiting factor of photosynthesis as light, heat, carbon dioxide, Blackman concluded that photosynthesis process divided into two types of reaction. We have light reactions. Light act as the limiting factor, and the light reaction take place in grana. Also have dark reaction. They are sensitive for temperature, not affected by light. These reactions also take place in light and darkens. And temperature here is the limiting factor. Factor for the rate of the process, dark reaction take place in the stroma. Light reaction of photosynthesis. When the light falls on chlorophyll of the grana inside the chloroplasts, okay, it gives its energy. The chloroplast absorb energy. So some electrons, that atom of chlorophyll released, okay, these electrons are shifted up from the lower energy to higher energy. Okay, so the kinetic energy is stored as potential chemical energy in the chlorophyll. Molecules of chlorophyll are therefore said to be in excited or activated state. When the stored energy is released, the electron fall once more to the lower energy, so the chlorophyll returns the stable state, ready to receive another influx of light to become excited more than once. Part of the energy stored in chlorophyll is the energy is consumed in what? Is used in splitting up water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, which oxygen released from the photosynthesis process. Also, another part of the energy chlorophyll is stored in ATP. ATP, source of energy, short form of adenosine triphosphate molecules, which are called the energy currency in the living cells. ATP is released from combination of ADP, adenosine diphosphate, with one phosphate group, and the amount of released energy by the means of high energy bond, which is marked by ADP plus 1 phosphate, and the energy give ATP. Okay, hydrogen resulting from the composition of water molecule combined with coenzyme present in the chloroplast, which is called NADP. Okay, NADP or NADP. Okay, which is the hydrogen receptor. Okay, short form of nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate. Nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate, NADP. Okay, the function of NADP is a hydrogen acceptor to give NADPH2. In this way, hydrogen will not escape or combine with oxygen. Okay, so oxygen released as byproduct for the composition of water. Also, dark reaction of photosynthesis, a group of reactions that take place in the stroma of chloroplasts. Okay, in which what's happening in dark reaction, hydrogen carried on NADPH2 is used to fix carbon dioxide into carbohydrates by the help of energy stored in ATP. Melvin Calvin and his associates in California University revealed together the nature of dark reaction by using the radioactive isotope C14. They placed the chlorella algae in the apparatus, okay, that supplied with carbon dioxide gas containing radioactive C14, and a lamp was lighted very briefly in order for photosynthesis to take place. The chlorella algae is then immersed in a beaker containing hot alcohol to kill the algae and to stop biochemical reactions. They separated the product of photosynthesis by special means, and they tested the presence of radioactive C14 in these products. Okay, at last, what are the results of Kelvin experiment? When photosynthesis proceeded with the briefest flash possible of light, the first stable components are compound to the produced its BGAL, okay, BGAL, phosphoglyceraldehyde, which is 3 carbon atom, and these BGAL act as crossroad in the metabolic network from which glucose, starch, protein, and fats are formed. It can utilize it in the cellular respiration. Okay, the exhaust sugar, glucose, is formed through several enzymatic intermediate reaction. Okay, so we can say that the BGAL, it's the first compound formed during the photosynthesis process, and it used to make protein, used to make carbohydrates, it used to make starch. Okay, thank you, my student. Okay, this was lesson 2. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.